Tom Brady purchases at least part ownership into the Las Vegas Aces. We're going to talk about what that means for the WNBA and that franchise, and then we're going to continue our player predictions for the 2023 season. This time, we're covering both Williams, Elizabeth and Courtney Williams. We'll cover them both and more right after this.
Welcome to Chicago Sky Central, and here's your host, Haize.
What's going on, Sky fans? Glad to have you guys in the building. Glad to be back talking the Chicago Sky, by the way. And we're jumping right in. We're going to go around the WNBA for news. And there's really only one big story around the WNBA right now. It's been kind of quiet, and it's probably going to remain kind of quiet as well until the WNBA draft, which I'm still trying to kick around if I'm going to do a live stream about that or not, considering the Sky don't have a pick. But I do want to provide coverage to the W overall as well. So let me know what you guys think. If you want to see me do a live stream during the WNBA draft, go ahead and leave a comment down below. But with that being said, let's get into it. So Tom Brady has purchased a minority ownership in the Las Vegas Aces. He joins now, the majority owner, and Mark Davis, who also owns the Las Vegas Raiders, is the majority owner of the Las Vegas Aces. And, he had this to say after the purchase. He said, "I've always been a huge fan of women's sports, and I admire the work the Aces players, staff, and the WNBA continue to grow the sport and empower future generation of athletes. To be able to contribute in any way to that mission as a member of the Aces organization is an incredible honor." So, and Brady has been seen at Aces games before. I think last season as well. He sent gifts and stuff to Kelsey Plum and other Aces players as well. So you know what? Here's the thing. And this is what I'm going to say, and this is kind of bigger than just the Aces, and you have to look at the WNBA. Tom Brady is one of the most respected, popular, and established and decorated athletes in all of professional sports. Him purchasing the Las Vegas Aces is going to bring a new level of attention to the team and thus, hopefully, the WNBA overall. And I'm sure that played a part in him buying a part ownership in the team as well. When you look at it, the WNBA doesn't have a lot of owners that have big personalities. Now, some like that. They like when the owners are kind of out of the way. But when you have a personality like Tom Brady, that there's going to be outlets and things that report on anything Tom Brady does, turns up to, or is a part of. And so that is going to bring a new level of eyes to the WNBA. And when you talk about in growing the game, right, that does contribute to that. Now, we'll see how much it ends up paying off for in the long run. The Sky also, we just added a new owner to our ownership group as well, but it doesn't carry the cachet however you say that. I talk weird sometimes, that Tom Brady has and he's going to bring to that organization. Now, I don't know how much he's going to be involved in the day-to-day. Don't know how much he's going to be involved in team operations or anything like that. But it does help grow the game. And, that's part of what I do here. I think that's part of what all WNBA content creators, commentators, everything does is like we want to legitimately bring more awareness to a game and a sport and athletes that we feel deserve so. And for Tom Brady to put his money where his mouth is, and I'm sure he's, looking for other ventures now that he's retired as well, and to invest in a WNBA team, I don't want to, overstate it or anything about how big it could be for the WNBA as a whole, but it does matter, and it does make a difference, and we hopefully will see that pay off for the franchise and thus the WNBA as a whole. But all right, enough news from around the WNBA overall. We don't have as much this week. Let's get into the player predictions. Now, I love doing this. I think this is like our 4th or 5th episode doing this, and we're going to talk about Courtney Williams today, who's projected to be either the starting point guard, a starting shooting guard, just a starting guard for the Chicago Sky coming into this season. And when you look at Courtney Williams and her season last season, 11.1 points per game, 4.6 rebounds per game, especially as a guard, 3.3 assists, and 1 steal per game. What does that mean? Courtney Williams is a baller. That's just what it is. She's just somebody, especially if you're watching the Athletes Unlimited tournament, she is just a baller. She understands how to play the game of basketball, and she's going to be effective in any role you put her on. She gives effort on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, and that's going to be important for a Sky team that's looking to establish a new identity for the team and the franchise going forward as well. And then when you look at her shooting splits on top of that, she's a 42% shooter from the field, taking 11 shots per game. She hits the the three ball at 11.8%. I'm sorry, 33.8%, and she only took 2 attempts per game. So not the best, not a volume three-point shooter, but you know if she's going to be open, she's going to take them. She can take them. She operates primarily in the mid-range and in the paint. And some of her best weapons as far as her offense are jump shots and this floater that she has that is just a beautiful floater. So when you look at Courtney Williams and projecting what she does, you guys know in these projections, I'm not necessarily coming in saying this player needs to average that, this player needs to average this. It's more so how they fit in and what their role is going to be on the team. She's joining a team with Kahleah Copper, who can absolutely score. And then you also look at Marina Mabrey and what she can be as a scorer and a facilitator as well. Courtney Williams is going to be able to come in, kind of pick her spots. She's going to be one of those players that, you know, maybe doesn't shoot a lot of high volume at times, but it's going to be efficient. I honestly think her joining the team that she's joining and what the Sky project to be is going to have a possibility and a chance to really kind of, you know, let the game come to her in that area, kind of focus on setting up other players, facilitating, but don't sleep on her, especially in transition, especially when the Sky just need a bucket. Maybe if things start slowing down, Courtney Williams is going to be a player that I think is going to come in and definitely give the Chicago Sky those things to her game, and it's probably going to be needed as well. Also, when you look at her and where she gets her points, I really like how she gets her points primarily in the mid-range, and she becomes more efficient the closer she gets to the bucket. Now, you can say that about basketball overall, but she gets primarily operates in that mid-range area. Then in the paint, she shoots 54% in the paint and averages 1.8 points per game per shot in that painted area. In the restricted area as well, she's 51% from that area. Now, the three-pointer is where she's not the best. We talked about those percentages. Above the break three, she hits at a 32% clip, but that left corner three specifically, she hits that at a 50% clip. So that's something you can definitely look for her, and she gets her shots right in the middle of the floor. That's where she likes to operate. So I'm looking at Courtney Williams and how that game is going to, you know, she's going to be the midway person between Marina Mabrey and Kahleah Copper and just both of their scoring abilities, and she's going to be able to kind of pick her spots. Her and Isabel Harrison are going to be kind of the players you have to look at, and they're going to have to be efficient in their roles and how they get their shots. But they definitely project to come in and be able to give the Sky some much needed just depth, some much needed activity, aggressive, right? You're not going to get past her easily. She's going to make her presence felt on every single game that she's in. And Courtney Williams, I love the addition to the team because it brings that dog mentality, but it also brings high level basketball IQ as well. Is she the best basketball IQ person? No, but she's just a damn good basketball player that you can have and fits in any system on almost any team with the way that she goes about the game. And the fact that she operates in that mid-range area as well, that's a highly effective area in the WNBA game. Not as much as in the NBA game, but in the WNBA game, absolutely. So I'm looking at Courtney Williams to be an efficient player. I'm looking for her to primarily be able to focus on the defensive end, but you get her out in transition, you get her out and things like that, and she's going to fight. Well, let's also not overlook the fact that she averages 4.6 rebounds as a guard in the WNBA. She's going to go after it. She's going to get loose balls. She's going to get you extra possessions. She's just going to be a baller. And I love the acquisition of Courtney Williams and what she presents or projects to bring to this team in the 2023 season. Now, the next one up that we're going to talk about is Elizabeth Williams. And so this is she's going to play forward and center for the Chicago Sky, projectedly 6'3", that she's going to bring that size. She's a really good rebounder. The rebounding rate, though, is not kind of what I like to see, but keep in mind, she's a bench piece. She started no games last year for Washington, but she has started over her career. That was the first time she was primarily a bench player in her career, but she's probably going to be that for the Chicago Sky as well. You could project her as a starter too, but the way that she doesn't stretch the floor at all. She does operate 100% in the low post area. That's it for her, right? And I don't mean that as a slight saying that that's it for her, but that's how she's going to get her points. She's going to get that by playing in that paint area and understanding her role. She's a player that understands her limitations. She doesn't try to do too much outside of that. She's going to play efficiently in the game. The biggest question is that what she brings to the Sky. A, how much is it needed? How many minutes does she play for the Sky? She played one of the lowest minutes totals of her career last season, only averaging 14.9 minutes per game. That was the lowest since her rookie year, when she averaged less than 12 minutes. So the big question there is how much is she going to play for the Sky? But when she is on the court, she's a smart player. She doesn't really go her zone range primarily is inside of 8 feet and she operates some in that 8 to 12 feet area as well. She only shoots the ball at 7% anytime outside of there. So you're primarily looking at her in the paint, in the restricted area, and that's really it, right? And I don't, like I said, don't mean that to be a negative, just mean that to be where she gets her points. She gets her points right in the teeth of the defense. And the Sky, typically last season, were one of the best teams at attacking the rim. When she is scoring, that's going to be her role. But as I said, it's more than just scoring for her. You can't really look at scoring, I don't think, with Elizabeth Williams and try to use that to dictate her game. She's going to probably get you about a block per game, even though she averaged less than that last season. That was her first time, again, since her rookie season, averaging less than a block per game. She's going to get you that. She's probably going to get you 4 to 5 rebounds as long as you get her minutes. She's a proven player. You give her 15 to 18 minutes, she's giving you 5 to 6 rebounds per game. And that's going to primarily be her role. She's going to be the person that comes in and enforcer in a lot of ways for the Chicago Sky, and they could very well need that. So I'm looking at Elizabeth Williams to come in and just play solidly, be that center that we need, that center that's a deterrent, that tries to deter, and maybe doesn't always block shots, but definitely forces to alter shots of the other team when they try to come in the lane. I think that she's going to be good in that role. The biggest question that I have is, like, how big is that role going to be for her? How often is she going to play for the Chicago Sky? But outside of that, I really do like what these two players can bring to the Sky in this upcoming season, and I look forward to it, and it has my excitement at an all-time high. Let me know what you guys think. Courtney Williams, Elizabeth Williams, what do you see? How do you see them fitting on the team? What do you see their role being? How active, how many minutes? Well, Courtney Williams, I think we all know is going to start, but as far as Elizabeth Williams, how much do you see her playing for the Chicago Sky next season? Make sure you leave a comment down below if you're on the YouTube side. If you're on the podcast side, I tell you how to get in touch with me because I want to hear from you guys as well. But that's it for this episode of Chicago Sky Central. Make sure you're following the show at Chicago Sky Pod on every social media platform that we're on. You can also send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoSkyCentral@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Sky related. And I'll see you guys next time I plan on going to Skytown, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.